The music world held its breath. Whispers became roars. The band, after a 2-month silence, was back. This wasn't just a reunion tour, this was a resurrection. A phoenix rising from the ashes of broken dreams and shattered instruments. Fans went wild. Ticket sales exploded. The world braced itself for the return of chaos. The band members, each a legend in their own right, had walked different paths. They'd tasted success, battled demons, and seemingly moved on. But the pull of the music, the brotherhood, proved too strong. They were back, and they weren't holding anything back. Dallas, the band's enigmatic guitar monkey, had chosen a life of quiet normalcy. Once the heart and soul of the band, he now found himself in a world far removed from the electrifying energy of the stage. He'd traded his guitar for a yo-yo, swapping late-night gigs for early morning yo-yo gay stuff. The transition was jarring, but he convinced himself it was the right move. Days were spent in a high-rise chicken coop, managing balls, not riffs. The view from his coop was breathtaking, but it couldn't compare to the sight of a sea of fans, their faces lit up with joy. The money was good, the life comfortable, but his soul yearned for the stage. He often found himself staring at old concert photos, reminiscing about the adrenaline rush of performing live. When the call came, he didn't hesitate. It was an old bandmate proposing a reunion tour. The idea of returning to the stage was too enticing to resist. His wife, however, didn't share his enthusiasm. She had grown accustomed to their stable life and feared the chaos that a return to music might bring. Years of stability shattered by the return of his rock star alter ego. Arguments ensued. Ultimatums were issued. She demanded he choose between the life they had built together and the uncertain future of a musician. Dallas, torn between the love of his life and the music in his soul, made a choice. He chose the music. He chose the band. The decision was agonizing, but his passion for music was undeniable. He walked out on her and Jeff the Rooster, leaving behind a life of luxury for the unpredictable thrill of the open road. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in years, he felt truly alive, ready to embrace whatever came next. Madcracker, the band's wild-eyed guitar master, had sought solace in solitude. He was known for his intense energy on stage, but few knew the depth of his need for peace and quiet. Gone were the days of trashing hotel rooms and wild parties that left a trail of chaos. The rock and roll lifestyle had taken its toll on him. He'd found peace in the Alaskan wilderness, a place where the noise of the world couldn't reach him. The vast, snowy landscapes offered a sanctuary for his troubled mind. Living in a cabin, hunting midgets for food, he'd become one with nature. The simplicity of this life was a stark contrast to the chaos of his past. He'd even sworn off women, his wife Miley Cyrus, and all the whores of Hollywood saying they were a distraction. His focus was solely on his inner beast and his music, a necessary sacrifice, he declared, for his art. He believed that true creativity required solitude and sacrifice. His self-imposed exile, however, was not without its complications. The harsh conditions tested his resolve and his survival skills. Rumors swirled about a fiery romance with a park ranger named Brenda. Some said she was the only one who could break through his tough exterior. Others whispered of a local bear he'd befriended, even teaching it to play the tambourine. This unusual friendship became a legend in the nearby towns. Whatever the truth, one thing was clear. Madcracker, despite his best efforts, couldn't escape the allure of the wild. The wilderness had become a part of him. This time, the wilderness was calling him back to the stage. Inspired by the raw beauty of nature, he was ready to bring a new depth to his music. Kolseth, the butt pirate, had found love. He'd met a man, and butt angel in his eyes, who'd tamed his wild heart. Marriage followed. Then came the pitter-patter of little feet, a butt baby. He was a family man now, content with barbecues and bedtime stories. Music, it seemed, was firmly in his past. The reunion, however, changed everything. The lure of the stage, the camaraderie of his bandmates proved too strong to resist. There were tearful goodbyes, promises of nightly calls, butt style, reluctant understanding. Kolseth knew he was risking it all. His heart was torn, but his bass called to him. The show, as always, must go on. Section 5. John, the silent storm. John, the abs of steel, was an enigma. Always the quiet one, he observed the world from behind mirrored sunglasses. Some said he'd spent the hiatus in a monastery, honing his craft in silent meditation. Others claimed he'd been abducted by aliens, returning with a newfound understanding of the cosmos. The truth, as always, remained elusive. What was undeniable was his transformation. He returned not just as a voice, but as a force of nature. His vocals were now legendary, filled with a passion and intensity that bordered on the spiritual. John, it seemed, had found his voice, and it was electrifying. Section 6. Queefer, a Pledge and a Prayer. Queefer, the band's bestiality monkey, was a man of questionable morals and impeccable connections. He'd kept himself busy during the band's hiatus, dabbling in various ventures, both legal and not so legal. He'd always believed in the band, even when they doubted themselves. His faith, though often misplaced, was unwavering. When the reunion was announced, he didn't just promise the world. He pledged his very soul and swore off donkey sex forever. He remortgaged his house, sold his prized Elvis dildo collection, and even convinced his bookie to accept future earnings as collateral. Queefer was all in, and he wouldn't let anything, not even the authorities, get in the way of their comeback. Section 7. Jet Dude, trading wings for wheels. Jet Dude, the band's mustache extraordinaire, had finally found peace. He'd sworn off facial hair after a particularly harrowing incident involving a flock of geese and a faulty engine. He'd settled down, opened a meth lab, and embraced the simple life. The news of the reunion, however, sent him into a tailspin. He knew they needed him. They were family. So with a heavy heart and a shitload of meth full of dreams, he closed up shop. He traded his penis pump for a syringe and hit the road, this time high as fuck, ready to face the music and the madness once more. Section 8. The Dingo Brothers cleaning up their act, sort of. The Dingo Brothers, the band's pyrotechnics team, were infamous. Known for their love of explosions and their blatant disregard for safety regulations, they were a constant source of both awe and terror. Their antics had gotten them blacklisted from every major venue. For the reunion, they promised to tone it down with the butt stuff. They swore they'd left their flamethrowers at home. They even attended a seminar on responsible butt pirating, although they spent most of the time passing notes and making fart noises. The Dingo Brothers were on their best behavior, or at least what passed for it in their world. Section 9. The Album, a Symphony of Chaos. The album dropped like a bomb. It was a raw, visceral, unapologetically loud testament to their journey. Critics were blown away. It was as if they'd bottled lightning, capturing the essence of their chaotic brilliance. Each song was a story, a tale of redemption, of second chances, of the unbreakable bond forged in the fires of rock and roll. There were anthems of rebellion, ballads of heartbreak, and even a polka-infused instrumental dedicated to Mad Cracker's pet bear. It was a masterpiece of controlled chaos, a sonic assault that left listeners breathless and craving more. Section 10. The Fans a Love Story. The fans, starved for their hero's return, devoured it all. The album went platinum in a week. Concerts sold out in minutes. Merchandise flew off the shelves. It was more than just a comeback. It was a cultural phenomenon. From teenagers discovering the band for the first time to diehards who'd followed them since the beginning, everyone was swept up in the frenzy. There were tears, there was laughter, there was moshing so intense it registered on the Richter scale. The band had tapped into something primal, something that transcended music. It was a connection, a shared history, a love affair that had been rekindled after years of separation. Section 11. The Grammys and Beyond. The Grammys were inevitable. It was a moment that seemed both surreal and predestined, a culmination of years of hard work, rebellion, and raw talent. The band, once notorious for their backstage antics, now found themselves lauded by the very establishment they'd once mocked. Their journey from rebellious upstarts to celebrated icons was nothing short of extraordinary. They cleaned up well, trading ripped jeans for tuxedos, although Mad Cracker did insist on wearing his lucky coonskin cap. It was a nod to their roots, a reminder of where they came from and how far they had come. As they accepted award after award, a sense of surreal satisfaction washed over them. They'd done it. They had not only survived the tumultuous world of rock and roll, but had thrived in it, earning the respect and admiration of their peers. They'd conquered the world, cheated death, and somehow managed to stay together. Their bond, forged in the fires of fame and adversity, was unbreakable. They were more than just a band, they were a family. The future was uncertain, as always, but one thing was clear: the band was back, and they weren't going anywhere. Their music continued to evolve, reflecting their growth as artists and individuals. The legend, like a fine wine, had only gotten better with age. Their sound, once raw and unpolished, had matured into something timeless, resonating with fans old and new. The music, like the party, would continue, forever echoing in the halls of rock and roll history. Their legacy was secure, a testament to their enduring talent and unyielding spirit.